it's just this like rejection of receiving. And what I continue to learn about codependency and let's say independence, right? And not needing people, because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm so independent. I'm independent AF, like, so I couldn't be codependent. But independence or even hyper independence is often rooted in lack of trust that other people can show up for you. Before we begin, I have a favor to ask. Pause for just a second to make sure you're subscribed. If you're ready for honesty, more self-trust, and more peace in your relationships, then you're in the right place. The only way I was going to make it back to the podcast is if I did not overthink it and I just let myself show up with the least amount of expectation. I am quite literally coming to you guys in my pajamas. And I think the only way I'm going to get through coming back to the podcast is if I am just open, honest, vulnerable with you all, share what the heck I've been navigating the last month and see what comes of it. I really don't have an outline for today's episode. I was just like, Alyssa, you just got to put your phone up, hit freaking record, and speak from the heart and just trust that whatever is supposed to come through is going to come through. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to hope for the best and just trust that whatever medicine for me, for you, just comes through and lands in our hearts. As I'm sure you've noticed, there was a break in the podcast because April completely wrecked me, but it actually started in March. Mid-March, I got a phone call that I just could never fathom receiving, and it basically set the tone for this grief initiation portal that I've been in ever since. I was getting ready. I had an amazing morning. Like Justin and I went for a run. We went and got a cheeky coffee. Like it was the perfect morning. And I had an appointment to get a tattoo that afternoon and dinner plans right after with some good friends who were visiting. It was just like the most perfect day. The sun was out. It was amazing. And I get a call from a friend. Well, actually, it was a text. I called him back right after, but a text that one of my best friends, that has been my best friend since I was 15 years old, passed. And you read it and it feels like this out of body experience. Like you can't fathom it. You can't wrap your head around it. It just like doesn't make sense. And what I did was like immediately go into trying to figure it out. Like this just doesn't make sense, right? So I call my friend who texted me, and he gave me a little bit more details around what happened and what he had learned. And then I immediately called my other best friend, who him and I have been friends since 5th grade. And our friend who passed, like we were just like the trio, like we were just so tight. And I immediately thought of him when I found out that my friend had passed. And I mean, he just answers the phone, and like we just like don't even say anything. We just cry, and it's just this like it's just this impossible thing to navigate. And whenever I think I'm over it, like I talk about it and I cry again, and I'm learning this about grief. But I know that I'm lucky in the sense that I have not had to experience much grief around loss specifically in my life. Grief, yes, but loss of loved ones, I haven't had that much experience with. My family is so young. I've talked about it here. I have a great grandmother. I have a lot of my grandparents. Well, I mean, I'll get into that in a minute, but just haven't really lost anyone super close to me. And this was the first time. And to lose a friend, like to lose someone who is my age, to lose someone who I've done half my life with, more than half my life with, like to lose someone who was such a rock in my life and in my journey was and is impossible to reconcile. And I don't think that I ever will. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Grief is a teacher now in my life, but it was just, it just unlocked so much emotion, that the most emotion I've ever felt in my life, like the most anger I've ever felt in my life, the most sadness I've ever felt in my life. Just watching myself be able to hold myself through that was really illuminating, because I shut down. It's like my go-to, and I was really, even though I had shut down moments, I have really allowed myself to feel a lot, and not only feel a lot, but to allow other people to hold me in my feeling. um Justin as one of them, like the way he has shown up for me, it's been so beautiful for our relationship to grow in even deeper intimacy and connection and vulnerability. uh my family, like allowing my family to hold me through this, allowing friends to show up for me in ways that I sometimes struggled to allow myself to receive support from. And then I think one of the most powerful, profound places has been our Codependency Alchemy community, to be honest. It's this space that I created, and I think sometimes I feel this responsibility to hold so much of it, and this grief portal I've been in has really encouraged me and invited me to take a step back and let other people hold this space too. um there was this teaching that I learned from my Camino mama. I spoke about her in the Camino series, over almost a year ago. Those are some podcast episodes on way back last season. But, she taught me something really important that came up again in this season of my life presently, where she asked me, Alyssa, how do you feel when you get to do something for somebody else? Like you get to give them a meal, or you get to, take care of them in some way. You get to hold something for them in some way. How does that feel when you get to do it? And I'm like, oh, it feels so great. I feel it fuels me. It fills me up. Like it brings me so much joy. And she said, if it brings you so much joy, then why do you take away that experience from other people who are trying to do the same for you? And it was just like, psh, reality check. Of course, the landscapers are going to be here. So I'm just going to keep going. You guys are just going to hear landscapers in the background. But it was just this mind-blowing moment where I was like, yeah, I can see how my lack of receiving takes away this opportunity for others to feel a joy for supporting or holding space for me. And I so clearly saw it when one of my really good friends, she was experiencing something in her life, and I wanted to give her and her partner a meal. I was like, hey, like, I wish I could bring you a meal. I'd love to DoorDash you something. I picked like our favorite restaurant, and it just brought me so much joy to be able to like show up for her in that way, to just be like, you're caring so much, like let this meal, this dinner not be something you have to carry, like let me carry it for you. And she received it so beautifully. And then maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, I have all of this loss that happens for me in my life, and she goes to reciprocate and was like, I'd love to send you and Justin a meal. Send me your favorite place. I'd love to order it for you. And my immediate go-to response was like, no, you don't have to do that. It's okay. Like, don't worry. We're good. And it's just this like rejection of receiving. And what I continue to learn about codependency and let's say independence, right? And not needing people, because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm so independent. I'm independent AF, like, so I couldn't be codependent. But independence or even hyper independence is often rooted in lack of trust that other people can show up for you, a lack of trust that you can rely on other people. And so it's just kind of two sides of the same coin. Either way, our safety is based on how people feel. So I have to do more to feel safe. I have to show up more to feel safe. I have to hold more in order to feel safe. Or this person has to be a certain way in order for me to feel safe. So I just kind of feel like naming that because I think that this is something I'm currently alchemizing a little bit. And so I'm processing with you guys. Because I think that is a common thing. It's like, oh, well, I'm independent, so I can't be codependent. But it's like, yeah, but do not allow yourself to rely on anyone because you don't trust, because then you're basing your safety off of other people even still. It's just kind of like in the other direction. So that loss with my best friend happened mid-March. A week later, not even, it was like within the same week. And time is fucking crazy in my head right now. So timelines, who knows? This call could have happened before my friend's passing or maybe after, but it was like within the week. My dad's dad, my paternal grandfather, he ended up in the emergency room. And my dad was like, hey, we're going to go take a trip down to see him. It looks pretty bad. And I was a mess. Like I couldn't do anything. I did not trust myself to be out in the world during that time. I was having intense emotional outbursts where I was just like hyperventilating, crying, and at the drop of a hat, like I didn't know when it was going to happen. I'd be fine one moment and then I would just break down and I was like, I can't be on a plane right now. I can't be out in the world right now. I honestly just thought that there would be more time or another time. My paternal grandpa had been like in and out of the hospital. He'd always recovered. He was just like such a strong person and such an amazing person. And yeah, I just trusted like, next month I can go. Well, fast forward to a couple weeks after that. This is the beginning of April now. My great grandpa on my mom's side, he ends up in the emergency room. He is like father figure to me. My grandpa on my dad's side lived in San Diego. So even though we saw him during the summer and they would come and visit us occasionally, our relationships were usually around like family vacations and trips. My great grandpa, on the other hand, I lived in the same house as him. Like we lived with them multiple times growing up when we, couldn't afford rent or when we had to move or whatever it was. Like that man raised me. When I think about father figures, he is the first person that comes to mind, alongside my dad. But he was like the first man I trusted, the first man I felt safe with, the first man that like held me after I was born. He is like father figure to me. And so when he ends up in the emergency room, I'm just like, holy moly, what the heck and Bob is happening? And, I talked to him on the phone and he was like, yeah, everything's fine. Like just needed to take some antibiotics, blah, blah, blah. And his wife kind of, says the same thing, like everything's fine. No need to worry. So I'm trying not to worry, but I'm like, oh my gosh, all these people I love are like in the hospital, just lost my best friend. Like what is happening? And then I call my great grandpa the next day, and he sounds like I have never heard him in my life. Very incoherent, nonsensical, what I imagine dementia symptoms or, experiences like, not remembering what he's saying and repeating himself like every single minute, like not even having a full conversation before he loops back to the previous thing. And so I'm listening to him, I'm talking to him for like a few minutes. And then I was like, can you hand the phone to his now wife? And she gets on the phone and I was like, I'm booking a flight right now. I'll see you tonight. Like I just knew in that moment, like this was not a typical situation. Like, he's never been like that before. I've never heard him like that before. I'm not getting clear, diagnosis of what's happening. Like, no one's communicating very clearly. His wife is like holding so much. Like, she had her own health scare. She has her dad. Like, there's just so much. And I was just like, I am booking a flight. I'm literally on the phone with her on my computer, booking a flight. It was 1:00 in the afternoon. I booked my flight for 2:30. So I like got off the phone with her, packed a bag within 10 minutes, had Justin drive me to the airport, and I got to the gate as they were boarding. Got on the flight. I was in Phoenix that night. Like, ordered the rental car while Justin was driving me to the airport. Like, it was just like boom, 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 boom. And, I had struggled with the decision the day before. Like, I had already considered the day before, like, maybe I would go, but I wasn't sure. Like, it's a lot of money to go travel day of, and that's what was really kind of like holding me back, to be honest. I'm just going to be honest and say that. And I called my great grandma, who is his wife, that, obviously my great grandma, they were married for 31 years. And she said, what's keeping you from going? And I was like, the cost of going, like needing a hotel room, renting a car, airplane. And just hearing myself say that was all that I needed, because it was just like, I just hate that society is like this, because like we need money to live, right? But it's like, I am not going to go take care of my great grandpa because it costs too much money to get on a flight today. I heard myself say it, and it was like, fucking poo-poo to that. I'll find the money. The money will come. I'm just going to trust it. I'm putting this on a fucking credit card, and I'm going to go be with the man who took care of me. I'm going to go take care of my elders. Same reason why I went and took care of my great grandma when she was in the hospital 6 months ago. So I got there, and I'm so glad I took that trip. I was there for a week. It was coincidentally also his birthday week. So I got to spend his birthday with him, and I will never regret the hours and the time spent with him. He's doing fine. He is on the decline, but in a lot of ways. But we did get him out of the emergency room and back home by the time that I went back to Portland. And it just reminded me a lot about these important moments that we have with our loved ones and the ability to learn from them. Like, the stories that I got to hear my great grandpa tell me while I was with him, like 15 plus hours they would not let me stay the night, which drove me crazy. So I would get there at like 6 a.m, leave at like 10 p.m. I would just sit there and I would just like listen to all of his stories, and from a different place than I could hear and listen to them when I was a teenager, right? Like, I am writing things down. I am getting all of these like amazing memories, and like, what a beautiful experience, not only for me, but for him too. Because I was seeing so much sadness in him, and sadness that he was articulating, that he said, like, I didn't do anything special, with my life. And I mean, obviously I beg to differ, because he raised not only me, but he raised my mom, and he helped my grandma as well. Like, he raised 3 generations in my family, and we're all better because of it. And not only that, like, he was in the Navy. And so just being able to like be a mirror and reflect back to him how much him being a part of our lives has positively impacted generations and will continue to impact generations to come, was just really important. And I think I have been reminded very clearly how important it is to share gratitude and admiration, appreciation even. Maybe some people there isn't admiration, but there can still be an appreciation for who people were and are in our lives. And anyways, so I came back from that trip, and about a week later, the week of my friend's celebration of life, I got a call that my grandpa on my dad's side passed. And so when I say I've been in a grief portal, it's just like boom, 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 one after another, after another, after another, loss after loss, scare after scare. And I just feel like I've been so out of my body because it's like my nervous system is trying to protect me, because it's like there's just so much input, like we have to dissociate. And I'm seeing the gift in that because our bodies are so wise, and I can see how like my body learned that when it was a child. Like it makes sense to just dissociate where you need to, because it can be, the emotion can be overwhelming. But now as an adult, what I'm seeing more and more is that like it is also my responsibility now that I am an adult and have awareness, and like am not dependent on the adults in my environment to keep me safe. I'm dependent on myself. In moments where I have capacity, it's really important for me to ground and to regulate my nervous system, however it feels good for me to do that in that moment or during that day. So I have leaned on, my shadow work and inner child guide practice. Like after my best friend's passing, I was not myself. I was like, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know who, like when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I just feel like I'm not there. I think how I described it to my friends is like, I feel like a shell of a human. Like there's nothing inside of me. I'm empty. And so really allowing myself to do that practice, to see that part of me, to meet that part of me that's like running for the hills, that wants to run away, because that was like what I was fantasizing over, is like, I just want to run away, thinking that if I can run away, somehow I'm going to find peace. If I can just like get out of here, like get on a plane, go somewhere far away. And this has been my pattern my whole life, is like, if I just run away. College boyfriend and I broke up, ran away to an island. Things were hard in my relationship, ran away. That's just kind of what I do. And so what I tried to encourage myself to do this time is like, instead of running away, can I meet the part of me that wants to run away? And can I see what is there for that part of me? And so I went through the whole shadow work and inner child practice to meet that part of me. And it's just amazing the regulation that can come from just taking 5 freaking minutes, guys, like 10 minutes to pull out your journal, write it all out, let it be seen by us, right? Like by ourselves. It doesn't have to be shared with anybody else, but even just that process of writing, like, where does this fear of, or where does this need of running away? Like, what do you think it's going to provide you with? Peace. The part of you that's afraid that, you're not going to have peace. How old is that part of you? Where does that live in your body? Like just moving through those questions is so regulating, can be so cathartic, and can really propel us through it with way more grace and like just embodied. Like that was what I was missing. I just felt disembodied. I felt like a shell of a human, right? Like emptied inside. And this practice brought me back into my body. Some other things I've been doing is like running. I've been going out and I've been running or walking, or it's been super nice here in Portland, which is, great. When you can get the sun, you want to take advantage of it. Even just sitting out in the sun. Yesterday, Justin and I said, screens away. I want to not look at my screen and just sit in the sunshine. And we just did. We just sat out there, put our feet in the little doggy pool we have for Frank, and just sat there and just received the sunlight. And so just earthing, like grounding, earthing, moving your body. Some days I don't have capacity for that. Some days I am literally a couch potato, or I'm not even getting out of my bed, or I stand in the shower for like 500 hours. I'm just like, don't have capacity to talk. I don't have capacity to process. I'm just like vegging out and dissociating. And so I want to name that, like, our body is wise. It knows what it needs to do. And sometimes that is the best thing that we can do to help regulate to a certain extent so that we have capacity to further regulate. If we were to take in all this information at once, which is kind of what was happening for me, all this information. If my body was taking all of that in at once, I would have totally emotionally burnt out. Like it needed to take it in these bite-sized moments. Like I couldn't process my best friend and my grandpa and my great grandpa all at the same time, even though they were all happening simultaneously. Like there were moments where I was processing my friend. There was moments I was processing my grandpa and my great grandpa. And yeah, what am I trying to say? It's okay that it doesn't all happen at once. It is okay that it happens in bite sizes. It is okay that we dissociate. Like, I think for me, something I'm rewriting for myself is that, like, I used to equal dissociation as bad. Oh, if you dissociate, that's bad. Like, that's the not healed thing to do. But instead, I see dissociation as like this, it's like this comfort blanket that comes and wraps itself around you, right? You can take a deep breath with it, feel a little bit more in your body, feel a little bit more safe. And then from that place, you're like, okay, now I can maybe process this a little bit more. It's like a level of nervous system regulation. It probably isn't going to get you all the way through it, but it gets you to the point where you can actually process it. So I really want to like rewrite dissociating for us. Like if we need it to a certain extent, can we allow that to be okay? And can we see the opportunity, like once we allow ourselves to soften a little bit, to stay curious and use our tools to further regulate, whether that's journaling, whether that's moving, whether that's some sort of movement, some sort of journaling, some sort of external processing like therapy, whatever that is for us. So that's what I've been moving through this last month. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to lean into receiving support. That is what, like, one of the biggest lessons in this grief portal is remembering that we are not designed or meant to carry it all, that we are meant to receive support, that we are meant to be held, and to allow other people in our lives to pour into us in that way, because it also brings them joy. And this is how we step into loving reciprocal relationships. We have to also be willing to receive. And it's okay if it doesn't feel safe or it feels scary to receive. I'm right there with you. I'm like, oh, feels crunchy. My other good friend brought us like banana bread and this amazing like sourdough with the soup, and it was so challenging for me to accept. But it's just like, Alyssa, can you just grow the evidence that it is safe to accept this? Like, and what I will say, because I want to give you guys this evidence too, the vulnerability of receiving has deepened my relationships and my friendships. Like, to allow Justin to pour into me and receive has deepened our intimacy and our relationship. Like, allowing myself to soften around my hardened edges has brought in a deeper connection in relationships that I didn't even know could go deeper. And so I want to challenge us all to ask ourselves, like, where can we open ourselves up to receive a little bit more? So I know this season of the podcast, we're sharing these reflections. We're healing the mother wound by not doing this in isolation. So I want you to take a moment to scroll down. If you're listening to this on Spotify, there's the comment section. I invite you to write this in there, or if you're watching this on Substack, remember, you don't have to hit post. You don't have to share this for the world to see. If you feel called to, then great. It's an honor to witness you guys and your shares, but at least type it out or write it out for yourself to witness yourself. You can delete it afterwards, but there is something very cathartic and healing by not just letting it sit in your mind, but actually writing it out. So I want you to explore the shadow work prompt. If I receive support, love, whatever it is for you, what am I afraid will happen? And just bring curiosity to our block or our hardened shell around receiving. And then just ask yourself, where does that fear of receiving live in your body? Moving into a somatic experience of that fear. And then how old is that part of you? Notice if an age comes to mind. These 3 questions, shadow work prompt, where it lives in my body, and how old is this part of me, is what I do often when I feel like I'm brushing up against an edge. And so go ahead and share that in the comments. Like I said, go ahead and write that out. And then if you feel called to go deeper with this work, this is what we do inside our Codependency Alchemy membership over on Substack. We actually move into inner child practices and practice what it feels like to tend to that part of you that has that core fear or that core wound. You can also do this on your own. I have a free shadow work and inner child guide you can find, like if you go to my bio on Instagram or if you go to Substack, there's a whole post on it. You can send me a DM if you can't find it and I'll get it to you. You can do this work on your own. Like you can move through the shadow work and inner child guide on your own. Like I said, it's free. I want everyone to have it because it has changed my life and continues to change my life and continues to be my most used tool for self-regulating and reparenting myself so that I can show up to my life and my relationships more safe, more secure, so I can receive safe, secure relationships as well. And this goes beyond romantic. Like this is my friendships, this is my familial dynamics. Like this is the work that has changed everything for me. But if you're wanting community, if you're wanting to have a place to do this work alongside hundreds of others who have said yes to the membership and show up every single day for this, then definitely check out our membership on Substack. It is only $90 for a full year of support, and it's what I wish that I would have had when I was navigating our breakup, when I was navigating feeling stuck, when I was navigating not feeling good enough, which I still experience to this day. I realize that we just need sacred places to be our most authentic selves, to show up vulnerably in whatever is alive for us in that moment. Right now, I'm in a season of grief, and I'm so grateful that I have a space and a community that can hold me in it. So if you're looking for that, please reach out. Please join our community. It would be an honor to have you. And yeah, thank you all for your grace in the podcast. Like I had to ask myself, if I'm my own boss, like what kind of boss would I want? Would I want a boss that says, okay, you're experiencing a lot of grief, you got to get back to work, finish those projects? Or do I want a boss that's like, hey, you're going through a lot, take some space and be with yourself and show up however feels good for you right now. Like that is what I want to model to others. I don't want to model to others that you have to push through and do things even if you're feeling empty inside. Like even today is a perfect example. I'm like, what is going to help me show up today to record this episode, which I felt ready to record. But then when I started getting in my head about it, it was just like, okay, you're setting all these expectations. How can you show up today in a way that feels good? And I'm like in my pajamas, without a script, without trying to teach anything, just girlfriend to girlfriend or friend to friend, chatting and sharing what the fuck has been going on in my life, because it's been a lot. And I think I just need to process this more, and I want to share it with you guys and let you guys see me where I'm at, because showing up to life means showing up authentically. Like I'm not going to show up here and pretend to be something I'm not. This is where I'm at right now. And, I made sure to show up after I have done a lot of processing on my own, so I can be here and share from a place that feels more grounded than it was 3 weeks ago. So thank you all for being on this journey with me. Thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for all your kind messages. Like they have been so well received. It has continued to support my practice of receiving. So thank you all for just being a part of my journey, for letting me be a part of yours. I love you all so much. I hope to see you inside the membership. And I will see you next week. I love you all so much. Bye.